All right. Thank you for that answer. I think we can take the first question now. Pursuing an LLM in dispute resolution, deciding between US and Europe for an LLM, and what are the pros and cons?
Right. See, I think I can answer this question well because I applied to both US and Europe.
Yeah.
Now, see, the thing with US is I personally really like their LLMs, and people tend to really speak highly of them. I feel like they have more interesting modules. They are less conventional. They have ingrained tech into their modules because that's and one upcoming thing. I'm not exactly sure, but I think you can take more modules in a US program as opposed to a UK one. But do confirm on that because what I remember is that US universities tended to have less credits assigned to a single module. So you could take and study more as opposed to UK where you'll have a 30 credit module or sorry, a 21 or a 40, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, I think US LLMs have excellent extracurricular activities. Now they have wonderful legal clinics. Now, for example, King's has a legal clinic, and that's all very nice. But universities in US had different clinics for different objectives. So you had a clinic for street law, a clinic for housing, family law. So you could really go into a clinic if you wanted to specialize in an XYZ area and come out of it. Other than that, some universities even had these interesting projects where you could work on maybe developing an application for online dispute resolution. So these sort of things US I think does really well. Now some universities, and Georgetown in particular stood out to me, have externships. Now what that is that in your second semester you can work with a law firm for academic credit. So you're not getting paid, but you're getting academic credit as a subject. Now, I mean, I think this is a wonderful opportunity if you want to practice because it lets you, I mean, show your skills to a law firm, make contacts in that, and also get a practical experience while studying your degree. And I
Yeah.
haven't seen this in the UK, right? I think some universities have placement years or something, but I haven't seen in the, highly ranked ones in the UK. So that's a good thing. Other than that, one thing in the US, I noticed a lot of practicing lawyers tend to come and teach in universities. So you would see people coming from London and just teaching a course or a few seminars. So I think that's very interesting, and you get a very excellent global reputation with these schools because wherever you go, people will know your university very well. There is a downside with US universities, though, is that it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
I think it's like $110,000 for a year.
Definitely.
And even if you get a scholarship, for example, I had a partial scholarship at Georgetown, and even then, it's more expensive than an LLM in UK simply because if you have a 25 or $30,000 scholarship, you still have to pay $70,000,
Yeah.
which is.
So,
And the last thing to keep in mind for a US LLM is that you only get 1 year post your degree. So after 1 year, it's a very convoluted process, and I think it's difficult to really settle in the US. And oh, yeah, one last thing. In the US, you're competing against JDs. And let's be very honest, the JDs will always win. They've had 7 years of study experience, they've done clerkships, they've done all sorts of experiences. So what
yeah.
happens, LLM really tends to lose out. And even when I was planning to go to the US, I knew that if I get lucky, I'll get experience for a year and then I'll come back. I mean, I didn't have long term, objectives there unless you speak an in demand language, and that's like Spanish, Portuguese. So a lot of people from South America would tend to be able to stay in the US and work for the firms because of the language skills.
That's what we've heard repeatedly. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
So now that's US for you. And
Yeah.
actually, also, I mean, I understand a lot of audiences from India, right? And
Yeah.
if you're lucky enough to find a law firm where, I mean, which is handling Indian work, you might be lucky enough to work with them because your understanding of the culture, understanding of the legal system, understanding of the language, Hindi, will be helpful. So if you do end up going to US, I would recommend start reaching out to partners and just see, which firm is handling a lot of India related work, and you just might get lucky. Now
Okay.
coming to Europe, I'll speak about UK first.
Yeah.
Now, I feel the UK LLMs are more academic in nature. And like even with Kings, it's largely practice focused, but it's still quite academic. And like I said, you tend to take less subjects as the modules are more heavier. And other than Queen Mary, I think the modules are also more conventional. So at King's, I'm studying international commercial arbitration and international investment arbitration. These are the modules you'll get to see in almost every university. Whereas universities like Queen Mary had like specific modules in construction arbitration, energy arbitration, which
All
was
right.
quite cool to be honest, right? You also have to write a dissertation or a practice project, and I think that's mandatory in every UK university. Now I can't remember properly, but I think in US it wasn't mandatory. So, but do confirm that once again. And similarly, what follows is that the faculties are more academic focused in the UK. And other than that, however, the upside in this one is you get a 2-year work permit, and the tuition fee is a lot better than US.
Yeah.
So that's definitely helpful. And other than that, you get to experience London, right? If you've come to UK and London, that's a wonderful city to be in, not just from a personal point of view, but it has all headquarters of big law firms, and everything is really centered in this city. With
Yeah.
US, what sometimes tends to happen is the universities are really spread out. So you might not necessarily be in a very metropolitan city where there's a lot happening. For
Yeah.
example, the reason I went with Georgetown, one additional reason was that it was based in DC. So that's why, I mean, that's just one point, because a lot of London universities are high ranked in the UK. So most likely with the UK LLM, you would get a very happening sort of city. Now, moving to your European LLMs, I
Yeah.
recommend too much on them, right? Because I didn't apply to any, I didn't look too much into them. But what I understand is that there are cheaper options like Leiden, which are still, at the top in the world. They are very highly rated.
Okay.
And you have places like Mints, which are expensive and again, very highly rated. So, and I also think they have smaller class sizes. But other than that, I can't comment much on Europe.
Excellent. So